ki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12, verse number 43. Ya shatra bandhur bhuvi tasyadhirudham anva arurukshedapi varshapogahe sat panchavarsho yat ahobhiralpahe prasadya vaikuntham avapatatpadam yat shatra bandhur bhuvi tasya dhirudham anva arurukshedapi varshapugahe shat panchavarsho yad ahobhiralpahe prasadya vaikuntham avapatatpadam yat shatrabandhur bhuvi tasya dhirudham anva arurukshedapi varshapugahe shat panchavarsho yat ahobhir alpahe prasadya vaikuntham avapatatpadam. Are there any volunteers who would like to recite this verse?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Ya Shatra Bandhur Bhuvitasya Adhiruttam Anu Arukshedapi Varsha Pugai Shat Pancha Varshayat Ahoviralpai Prasadya Vaikuntam Avapatat Padam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Yah Shatra Bandhur Bhuvi Tashadhiruram Anyarurukshedapi Varsha Pugoi Shat Pancha Varsha Yat Ahoviralpoi Prasadya Vaikuntham Avapatatpadam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Okay. Then we can read synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Synonyms. Yah, one who, Shatra Bandhu, the son of a Kshatriya, Bhuvi, on the earth, Tasya, of Dhruva, Adhirudham, the exalted position, Anu, after, Arurukshet, can aspire to attain, Api, even, Varshapugahe, after many years, Shat Pancha, Varsha, 5 or 6 years old, Yat, which, Ahobihi, Alpahe, after a few days, Prasadya, after pleasing, Vaikuntham, the Lord, Avapa, attained, Tat Padam, his abode. Translation. Dhruva Maharaj attained an exalted position at the age of only 5 or 6 years. After undergoing austerity for 6 months, alas, a great Kshatriya cannot reach such a position even after undergoing austerities for many, many years. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj is described herein as Kshatrabandhu, which indicates that he was not fully trained as a Kshatriya because he was only 5 years old. He was not a mature Kshatriya. A Kshatriya or Brahmana has to take training. A boy born in the family of a Brahmana is not immediately a Brahmana. He has to take up the training and the purificatory process. The great sage Narada Muni was very proud of having a devotee disciple like Dhruva Maharaj. He had many other disciples, but he was very pleased with Dhruva Maharaj because in one lifetime, by dint of his severe penances and austerities, he had achieved Vaikuntha, which was never achieved by any other king's son or Rajarishi throughout the whole universe. There is the instance of the great king Bharata, who was also a great devotee, but he attained Vaikuntha in 3 lives. In the first life, although he executed austerities in the forest, he became a victim of too much affection for a small deer, and in his next life, he had to take birth as a deer. Although he had a deer's body, he remembered his spiritual position, but he still had to wait until the next life for perfection. In the next life, he took birth as Jada Bharata. Of course, in that life, he was completely freed from all material entanglement, and he attained perfection and was elevated in Vaikuntha Loka. The lesson from the life of Dhruva Maharaj is that if one likes, one can attain Vaikuntha Loka in one life without waiting for many other lives. My Guru Maharaj, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, used to say that every one of his disciples could attain Vaikuntha in this life without waiting for another life to execute devotional service. One simply has to become as serious and sincere as Dhruva Maharaj. Then it is quite possible to attain Vaikuntha Lok and go back home, back to Godhead in one life. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Veer Krishnadas Goswami Niti Namine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurabani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Before I begin, I'll take blessings from all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So, welcome everyone for this wonderful, very, very beautiful verse that Srila Prabhupada has given to us in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a verse which is a key to our going back to Godhead. And this is a very promising verse for all of us. And I think we all should keep reading this almost every day because that's our goal of going back to Godhead. So we'll read the translation one more time. Dhruva Maharaj attained an exalted position at the age of only 5 or 6 years after undergoing austerity for 6 months. Alas, a great Kshatriya cannot achieve such a position even after undergoing austerities for many years. So definitely there is a lot of emphasis put on austerities. And throughout the verse, we understand that austerity is one very important element for all of us to go back home, back to Godhead. And we're going to emphasize a little bit on what sort of austerities are we talking about here. And before we move on to the austerities, there's this one beautiful story told by Srila Prabhupada. We are going to listen to that story first. And before that, let's do a very quick recap on where we are. We are on verse number 43, where Narada Muni is actually glorifying Dhruva Maharaj. So who is Narada Muni? What is the relationship of Narada Muni to Dhruva Maharaj? He is his spiritual master. So what an amazing verse it might be when the spiritual master, the disciple always glorifies the spiritual master. And it's very beautiful when the glorification is done by the spiritual master of the disciple, which means the disciple definitely has some wonderful qualities. That's why he's being glorified by the spiritual master. So in these verses, verse number 41, Narada Muni mentioned about Dhruva Maharaj that he attained the unattainable position. How? By his great austerities. What were the austerities? In his childhood, he left home, even though he had greed of achieving more than what his great grandfathers have, but still he performed all those austerities to get it. So by his great austerities, Dhruva attained an exalted position. And it was not possible to attain even by the strict followers of the Vedas. And what to speak of ordinary kings. Then in verse number 42, yesterday we learned that Dhruva conquered the unconquerable Lord. Lord is not very easy to be conquered. So Dhruv, aggrieved by his stepmother's harsh words, left for the forest at only 5 or 6 years of age. But he managed to conquer the unconquerable Lord. He started with a very material desire, anger, greed, all those things. So, and he attained the unattainable. He attained he conquered the unconquerable. And how does he do that? He does that by bhakti. So in Bhagavad Gita as well, we have understood that part, that only karma, only jnana is not going to help us. Bhakti is the very important element in attaining, in serving the Lord. So he managed to conquer the unconquerable Lord by his devotional qualities. And in this verse, we see that at this very young age and in a very short time, how do we know it is very short time? It is his full life, actually. So how do we know it is his very short time? The short time here mentioned here is
6 months.
Not austerities for 6 months, but one lifetime of going back to Godhead. So definitely he underwent austerities for certain time, and he attained an exalted position, but he attained the desired goal of going back to Godhead. And this was not at all possible for any great Kshatriya as well. So this is very, very interesting for us to know that, yes, and it's very, very hopeful that, yes, we also can go back to Godhead in one lifetime. But then what are the things that we have to collect in our life to be able to go back to Godhead once in this lifetime only? So we're going to listen to the story first of told by Srila Prabhupada, and we'll go from there. Is everybody able to see my screen and able to hear? Yeah, all good? Hare Krishna.
All good. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mataji.
you can see.
Okay.
Sometimes I recited one story. This is very instructive that Narad Muni, he used to visit Narayan every day. So when he was passing on the road, one very learned Brahmin and taking thrice bath and everything very nicely, he asked Narad Muni, "Oh, you are going to Lord, will you inquire when I shall get my salvation?" All right, I shall ask. And then a cobbler, he was under the tree, seeing the shoes, old shoes. He also saw Narad Muni. He also inquired, "Will you kindly inquire from God when my salvation?" Then when he inquired, Krishna, Narayan, Narad Muni goes generally to Narayan in another planet. So he gets two, one Brahmin and one cobbler, they inquired like this. May I know what is their destination? The Narayan said, after giving up this body, he is coming here and going on. And what about that Brahmin? Oh, he has to remain there still. So many, but I do not know when he is coming. So Narad Muni was astonished, right? Oh, that is very nice Brahmin. And he is a cobbler, how is that? So he inquired, then I cannot understand the mystery, why you say that cobbler is coming after this body, and why not this Brahmin? Oh, that we will understand. If they inquire that what Krishna or Narayan was doing in his abode. So just explain that he was taking one elephant through the hole of a needle, he is pulling an elephant this side and this. All right. So when he again approached the Brahmin said, "Oh, we have seen a lot, yes. So what was he doing? He was taking one elephant through the hole of a needle, he is pulling an elephant this side and this. Oh, therefore, I have no faith in your, I have got respect for your God. We don't believe all this nonsense." Then Narad could understand, this man has no faith. He simply reads book. That's all. And when he went to the cobbler, he was asked, "Oh, you have seen what Narayan was doing." Like you said that he was doing like this. Oh, he began to cry. "Oh, my Lord is wonderful. Oh, he can do anything." So Narad inquired, "So, do you believe that Lord can push one elephant through the holes of a needle?" "Oh, why not? I must believe." "Then what is your reason?" "Oh, my reason. I am sitting under this banyan tree and so many fruits are falling daily. And in each fruit there are thousands of seeds and each seed there is a tree. If in a small seed there can be big tree like that, is it very impossible to accept that Krishna is putting one elephant through the holes of a needle? He has kept such a nice tree in the sea. So this is called belief. The unbeliever and believer mean the believers, they are not blind believers. They have reason. If by Krishna's process, by God's process or nature's process, such a big tree can be put within the small seed. Is it very impossible for Krishna to keep all these planets floating in his energy? So we have to believe. We have no other explanation. But we have to understand in this way. Our reasoning, our argument, our logic should go in this way. So those who are devotees, just like the cobbler, he may be a cobbler, they believe everything. And those who are devotees, they will say, these are all bluffs. These are all bluffs. But they are not bluffs. It is simply meant for the devotees, they can understand. The non-devotees, they cannot understand.
Okay. So that was a wonderful story by Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
And it was real. I could have told the story, but I wouldn't have been able to speak like Srila Prabhupada. So I thought that was better to play Srila Prabhupada, to play what Srila Prabhupada is saying. So I'll just open this 1 minute to see what was the element that was lacking between the two devotees, and what is the first ingredient that we need to collect to go back to Godhead. So I'll just ask anyone to participate in this, maybe for 1 minute. What's the first element you're talking about?
Believe in Krishna.
Believing in Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
It's total faith on Lord.
Total faith on Lord. Yes, that's the word, faith. So we may be having a lot of scriptures at our homes, and we may be reading them. We may be chanting every day, and we may be praying with all our hearts. But if in an uneven circumstances, when we forget Krishna and we become the controllers, that's where our faith shatters. So we have really, it's the attitude that we're keeping today will design our destination tomorrow. So if we have this faith that Krishna will, for Krishna, nothing is impossible, only then can we advance in Krishna consciousness. So apart from this, we see that there's one person who is also there, very, very common between these two people. And who is this one person who is common between these two? Narada Muni. So how do we attain faith in our lives? How can Narada Muni enter our lives and we attain faith?
By believing that whatever the spiritual master says, just follow without any question.
Yes. So this is one of our offenses as well, disobeying the orders of the spiritual master. And this way or that way, we definitely, in some way, sweetly, we kind of disobey the instructions that are given to us by our spiritual masters. Therefore, it takes a long time for us to advance in Krishna consciousness. So as we take as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, we take the same instructions as it is, and we clarify if we are in doubt with our spiritual master only, then that faith becomes stronger, because spiritual master does not give us instructions that are beyond our capabilities to perform. Like, they're very simple instructions for us at the time of initiation. And what are they? Follow 4 regulative principles and chant Krishna, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra offenselessly. So, but that process of offenseless chanting takes many, 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 many births. So this is the instruction that we are being given by our spiritual master, chant offenselessly. But in our daily day-to-day lives, what are we doing? We are being little offensive towards ourselves, towards others, towards the chanting of the Maha Mantra, towards treating other devotees, and so on and so forth. So the list does not end. And we keep going on and on and on in our struggles in the spiritual life. So we see that the first point was faith. Then we come to the second point. The second point here that's needed here, needed to go back to Godhead, is transcendental greed. Now, lolium is one very, very, very important element that until and unless we desire to go back to Godhead, is Krishna going to call us there? No. Krishna will say, okay, you are happy here, stay here. Until and unless I'm dying to do something, or until and unless there's a burning desire in me to go somewhere, or even for vacation, I will not book my tickets. So there has to be a burning desire that comes in us, and that burning desire, has twofold ways. Like, we may have burning desire for material achievements, and we may also have burning desire for spiritual achievements. Burning desire, that is the greed for material attachments, is very, very dangerous. It binds us more and more into the material connections, and we keep, going down, knotted, very difficult to leave anything because of our weakness of the heart. So material greed creates weakness of the heart. And if we actually conquer the weakness of the heart, we digress ourselves to spiritual greed. So that spiritual greed is what is needed to go back to Godhead. So who had spiritual greed? Dhruva started with greed, but his greed changed to spiritual greed. Therefore, Dhruva Maharaj, at that very young age of 5 or 6 years old, he was not a mature Kshatriya to take decisions. He did not have a great training, but he immediately got that training as soon as he came under the shelter of his spiritual master, as soon as he revealed his heart to his mother. So definitely, the spiritual master takes all our anxieties and puts us in the right platform to practice our Krishna consciousness, provided a spiritual master actually guarantees to take us back, provided we are willing to obey him. That's provided, like in short, small letters, terms and conditions, provided we are willing to follow. So transcendental greed in serving Lord with full absorption without any distraction, it creates to serve the Lord in transcendental faith. And what is transcendental absorption? That Dhruva Maharaj had. And in this verse, we also talk about King Bharata. Of course, he's a great devotee. He's a great devotee, but he was able to go back to Godhead in 3 lives, not in 1 life. He was eligible to go back in 1 life, but he had to undergo 3 births. And what was the reason of his going to take 3 births? The reason was distraction. We may never know how. We may be thinking, however, oh, I'm a very good devotee. Nothing can, change my determination. But we may not know that Srila Prabhupada says, the last snare of Maya, that's the last snare of Maya, that it bewilders us, that the bewilders even the devotees. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions that it's a hard story to know that the devotees are not afraid of Maya. We should be afraid of Maya. Any devotee has to be afraid of Maya, because we may not know how advancing in spiritual consciousness, in Krishna consciousness, we may be distracted by something which would totally take us away from Krishna consciousness. So that is where we have to keep our check. We can't afford to move or to be distracted in any life away from Krishna consciousness. The moment it happens, our absorption will change. The absorption that we have attained will change to another absorption because of our weakness of heart. So whether one is serving Krishna or whether one is serving Maya, all of these living entities are performing austerities. We see in our everyday lives, our life itself is an austerity. So what to do when we become Krishna's servant? We can't be anybody's servant until and unless we have humility in us. So a very humble attitude, not pride, boastful attitude. And that puts us in the eligibility to serve, actually. So there's so many, like, like onion peel. I know it's a bad example, but until and unless we keep peeling, it has many layers. So similarly, our life, our understanding of the attitude towards our Krishna consciousness also has many layers. If we are humble only from outside, it's very difficult for us to actually change our inside. So humility we can't get services. We are not eligible to serve Krishna. Krishna will not accept anything until and unless we are humble. So Krishna very clearly says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome. So how is Krishna going to take this? Until and unless we give him in a humble mood. We offer ourselves, we offer everything to Krishna in a humble mood, in a helpless position. So we can't have mundane attitude in Krishna consciousness and then we plan to go back to Godhead. No, that's not possible. So so what are the austerities in material world? We have material austerities, and spiritual austerities are divine austerities. So divine austerities will lead us to be Krishna conscious all the time. So therefore, Sankirtan Yagna is a divine austerity for us. A chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every morning is a divine austerity for us, or throughout the day is the divine austerity for us. So Dhruva Maharaj was sincerely performing these activities. Therefore, Narada Muni was very proud of having a devotee disciple like Dhruva Maharaj. It is very glorious that Narada Muni, the spiritual master, is glorifying his devotee disciple. And he's very, very proud. He's very proud. We see here that Narada Muni was very proud of having a devotee disciple like Dhruva Maharaj. So what an exalted position Dhruva Maharaj has in his... So how was he? Again, because he was blessed by his guru. Narada Muni did not, it wasn't like Narada Muni did not bless Dhruva Maharaj and things just happened. It's his own way. No, it was only by the blessing of the guru that Dhruva Maharaj was able to attain what was destined for him, for what he was working for, what he determined for, what was his goal. So this lesson for us again comes as how do we go? Until and unless we get the mercy of our guru, it's not possible for us to go back to Godhead. So with that faith, with that transcendental greed, with that humility to serve the Lord, we have to serve the Guru, because Guru is the representative of the Lord, and we have to seek guidance. Now, which Guru are we talking about here? We're talking about, if we want to advance in spiritual life, we have to take the shelter of Vaishnava Guru. So Vaishnava Guru, the Guru and the association of Vaishnavas this puts us in this is very good for us in Krishna consciousness. We can't imagine of becoming a devotee, an ordinary devotee also, even if we don't have the association of Guru and Vaishnavas. So otherwise, what happens? We get distracted. And this has happened with us even after having Vaishnava association, even after having our blessings, a little bit of mercy that we are able to attain. Guru is giving, but we are not open to take the mercy. And because of this, we keep getting distracted with many things, and then we struggle in our spiritual life. So that's where the mercy of Guru comes. And Krishna here talks about, Srila Prabhupada here talks about that even Dhruv Maharaj had a lot of opulence. He got angry, he performed austerities. But the most important thing that Dhruv Maharaj, of all the things that he had in all in his life, all the things that he had, one very, very, very important attribute that he had in his life was he had a Vaishnava Guru. So because of the Guru, he is able to attain this destination of going back to Godhead. So isn't it a big guarantee that we are in ISKCON, we have our Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is coming in the disciplic succession and is guaranteeing all of us that we can go back to Godhead in this lifetime. But what do we have to do? We have to just gather these points in our life and then work on very diligently, very, very with full of determination. Now, we are a kind of, you know how Dhritarashtra had his guru Vidura, who was a Vaishnava. But Dhritarashtra always was, he knew what is right for him. We can't say that Dhritarashtra was like totally, he was spiritually blind. We read that in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that he was spiritually blind. By Srila Prabhupada, he mentions very clearly in the purport. But at the same time, he knew that he's making a mistake. You know what this thing is called? This thing is called determined thief. We know we are doing wrong, and still we carry on with it. So this also is the weakness of our heart. And because of that weakness of our heart, we don't surrender to Guru. And because of this weakness of our heart, we are not sincere. And because of this weakness of our heart, because we don't surrender, because we are not sincere, there comes the attitude of becoming not serious in doing what we have to do. That is, following the instructions of our spiritual master. That's where our inseriousness comes. Therefore, we often fail to perform these divine austerities. But that's a good news. We have all these scriptures keep telling us, come back. There's always a U-turn. Even if we are taking a wrong road, it doesn't matter. These scriptures, whatever page, whatever chapter, whatever verse we pick up, it always tells us to take a U-turn, go back to Godhead. Go back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada has not wasted any moment in telling us mundane stories. He has just given us in every verse, every chapter, every word, every verse, we understand that there is a hope for us to go back to Godhead. So until and unless we surrender to a Vaishnava Guru, we can't really cut the knots of our material bondage. So by serving Krishna, by serving the Guru, Krishna consciousness can be enjoyed. By serving our propensity of enjoyment is by enjoying, but the opposite is by serving. But because we have this exploitative nature, we become more and more entangled in the material attachments, and that's again because of our weakness of our heart. In chapter 2, Krishna was also telling Arjuna, Hriday, why are you behaving like this? Like weakness, petty hearted, petty minded, petty heart. And that's where Krishna actually takes the weakness of our heart. The moment we honestly address that, oh yes, my heart is really weak and I really can't follow the instructions of my Guru, then I don't have to put endeavor in it. We have to ask for the mercy of the Guru to give us that strength so that we can follow what is actually needed in Krishna consciousness. Then the Guru guides us. How? In our heart. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. That's how the Guru, all these prayers that we sing every day, they have very, 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 very deep meanings. So then how does all that happen? How does that seriousness, sincerity, the service, surrender comes from? It comes from the strictness in our attitude, a strictness in our following the regulative principles, strictness in our chanting the. Until and unless we're strict with ourselves, we keep losing the track. So Narada Muni is definitely very proud of having his devoted disciple, and we see that by unfolding all these elements of going back to Godhead, we see that there are immense opportunities for all of us actually to work in this life and be able to go back to Godhead in this life only. And that Srila Prabhupada has actually guaranteed us. So we definitely should take that guarantee. I have one more video by Srila Prabhupada giving us instructions on how Guru opens the eyes. We'll watch that and then I am done after this.
So, we living entities, we are part and parcel of Krishna. Just like fire and the small fragments of fire, sparks, our position is like that. Or the sun and the small particles of shining elements combined together becomes the sunshine. The sunshine which we daily see, it is not a homogeneous mixture. There is molecules, very small shining particles. So we are like that. It's very small. As there are atoms, material atoms, nobody can count. Similarly, we are atomic sparks of God. How many we are, there is no count. Asankha. Asankha means you cannot count. So many living entities. So we are very small particles. And we have come here in this material world, just like the Europeans especially, they go to other countries for colonizing, to use the material resources for their sense gratification. The America was discovered and the Europeans went there. The idea was to go there, and now they're trying to go to the moon planet to find out if there is any convenience. This is the tendency of the conditioned soul. So they have come to this material world. Krishna bhuliya ji bhogavancha kore. Purusha is bhokta. Bhoktam. Krishna is actually bhokta. Bhoktaram jagadabhusam. So we are imitating Krishna. This is our position. Everyone is trying to become Krishna. The Mayavadis, although they have undergone penances, austerities, very strictly they follow the principles of spiritual life, but because they are under Maya, at the end they are thinking that I am God, Purusha. The same disease, Purusha. Purusha means Bhokta. That I am Krishna, Bhokta. And even after advancing so much by austerities, penances, following regulative principles, the Maya is so strong that is still he is under this impression that I am Purusha. Not only ordinary Purusha, but the Supreme Purusha. As Krishna is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Parabrahma parang dhamam pavitram paramam bhava purusham shasato. Purusha. So, Maya is so strong that after being kicked so many lives, life after life, still is thinking, I am Purusha. And this is disease. Therefore, here we say that Esha Prakriti Sangena Purushasya Viparjaya. His material life began from this conception that I am Purusha, I am Indra. And because he cannot give up this idea that I am Indra, life after life is Viparjaya, reverse condition. Reverse condition means because the living entity is part and parcel of God, and God is Satchidananda Vigraha. So we are also Satchidananda Vigraha, a small Satchidananda Vigraha. But our position is Prakriti, not Purusha. Both of them, there's a Radha and Krishna, they are of the same quality. Radha, Krishna, Pranaya, Prakriti, Alladini, Shakti. They are one. But still, Radha is Prakriti and Krishna is Purusha. Similarly, we are, although part and parcel of Krishna, but we are Prakriti and Krishna is Purusha. So by falsely, when you think of becoming Purusha, this is called Maya or Viparjaya. That is stated here. Evam Prakriti Sangena Purushasya Viparjaya. Viparjaya means he is meant for actually enjoy with the Purusha. When the Purusha and Prakriti, male and female enjoy, they get the same pleasure. But one is Purusha, one is Prakriti. Similarly, Krishna is Purusha and we are Prakriti. If we enjoy Krishna, then the Ananda, Satchidananda is there. That we have followed. We want to be Purusha. So, somehow or other, this condition has come into existence. A false conception of becoming Purusha in life. Then, what is the result? The result is that we are trying to be enjoyed, life after life, but we are being enjoyed. We are not enjoyed. We are simply struggling to become enjoyed. This is our position. So, how you can stop this struggling and come to your original position? That is stated here. Sayava nachirat isasangat biliyat. This false conception of life that I am Purusha, it can be vanished completely. How? Isasanga. By association with God. Isa. Isa means the supreme controller. Isasanga. So where is Isha? I cannot see Isha. I cannot see, even Krishna is Isha, the Supreme, but I cannot see. Now Krishna is there. You are blind. Why don't you see? Therefore you cannot see. So you have to open your eyes, not close. That is the business of Guru. The Guru opens the eyes. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana salaka chakshur militam jina tasmai sri. How Krishna opens the eyes? By jnananjana salaka. Just like in the darkness we cannot see anything. But if there is matches or candle, the candle is ignited, then we can see. Similarly, Guru's business is to open the eyes. To open the eyes means to give knowledge that you are not Purusha, you are Prakriti. Change your views. That is Krishna consciousness.
So, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Wonderful. Yeah, so with this, I have I've discussed what points were meant here and whatever would come. So in the end of this purport as well, Srila Prabhupada is saying that my Guru Maharaj Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada used to say that every one of his disciples could attain Vaikuntha Loka in this life. So we have got a guarantee. One simply has to become as serious and sincere as Dhruva Maharaj, then it is quite possible to attain Vaikuntha Loka and go back home, back to Godhead in one life. What a promising verse for us. So if there's any comments, any additions, anybody wants to say anything, please feel free. I'm done.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam. Wow,
Hare Krishna,
what a
Prabhu.
beautiful class in the morning. Yeah, I will just listen to Srila Prabhupada lectures, so glorious and so enchanting. It's all the information right from the beginning to the end. And you have so clearly demonstrated the principles of how to follow the spiritual master. And that is what actually takes us to the right place, back to God. And if we are not serious and sincere, the 3S principle, there is no hope that we can achieve this goal in this lifetime. It is upon us how to follow, how to achieve. By abiding the instruction of Guru Maharaj. And he is the only source by which we can get attached to Krishna through him only. And that is all about text today. Thank you so much for enlightening such wonderful comments and seriousness of our daily activities right from the morning, the end of the day. It will be very serious to attain this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very auspicious month now, and we can we can take up some vows in this wonderful month and please Krishna by serving our gurus.
That's right.
Thank you, Mataji, for the wonderful class. It's a good reminder that, we have to keep remembering that following the spiritual master's instruction is the key focus in our life, actually, in order to progress in our spiritual life. Thanks for the reminder today. If any of you have any questions or comments, if not, thank you so much, Mataji, for giving the class, and we hope to hear from you soon. Vanchakalpatrupyascha kripa sindhuvaya cha patitanam Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.